All right, well, hello and welcome everybody to the Connection Hangout. We are excited this evening to be broadcasting this program all around the world. My name is Paul Tyra, and I'm joined by my co-host in Atlanta, Georgia, David Asarno. Welcome, David. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing awesome, Paul. How about you?
Fantastic. Is it finally thawing out over there, or is it still 5 or 6 degrees?
Oh, I was wearing shorts this afternoon. It was great.
You're kidding. You're kidding.
No, I'm serious.
That is crazy. Well, and you have to fly over here and play some golf. Tee it up. I was going to tee it up today, but it was a little too warm out there.
Yeah, you guys are making me feel really bad, Paul.
You're bundled up right now, so it does look a lot warmer here than it is there.
Let's get on with the show and quit talking about the weather.
All right. Well, we're also do a little bit of housekeeping here. We're also joined by Brent Brooks, who will be moderating our comment thread out there. This Hangout broadcast is it's a show that allows you to get connected to industry leaders. Also, we have professional athletes, ASEA executives like our guest this evening, and it's designed to allow you to connect to them on a more personal level. It's not a business presentation, okay? But if you'd like more information on ASEA, I want to encourage you to get back to the person who invited you to watch this Hangout. Some of you may also have a button underneath your screen that will click for more info. So after the Hangout's completed, go ahead and feel free to click on one of those buttons and you'll get more information as well. Again, otherwise contact the person who invited you. All right. Without any further ado, I'd like to introduce our this evening's guest. Many of you know Tyler Norton as the son of Vertus Norton, and he's also has been the CEO of ASEA for the past 18 months. But there are a lot of new associates out there who have not heard Tyler's early personal experience of how he was exposed to ASEA and how he made the decision to leave a very successful career to help ASEA get off the ground. And that's the goal of tonight's Connection Hangout. So first off, let me properly introduce Tyler. Before coming to ASEA, Tyler Norton had 17 years of experience in the financial services and management consulting industries. That means he was hired, what, Tyler, were you like 12 years old when you first started your professional career? So I was trying to do the math on that. Now, 9 of those years were in an executive leadership role with Beneficial Financial Group, where he served as a vice president, a senior vice president, and chief distribution officer. Tyler also served as a senior vice president of InSphere Insurance Solutions, which is a private equity portfolio company of Goldman Sachs and the Blackstone Group. And Tyler also co-founded Strategic Link with his father, Vertus Norton, which is a management consulting firm dedicated to teaching the strategies and the strategic planning processes that his father perfected during his long leadership career with Fortune 500 companies. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please welcome to the Connection Hangout, Tyler Norton. Are you there, Tyler?
I'm here, Paul. Thanks so much for letting me join you tonight.
Oh, fantastic. So, thanks so much for being here with us. You know, I know you were exposed to the redox signaling technology long before it became known as ASEA.
Yeah.
Can you share with everyone your initial experience on how you were first exposed to the technology?
Yeah, you bet. So, as you mentioned in my kind bio there, one of my background experiences had to do with my dad and I doing consulting work. And Dad and I were invited to do a consulting job for a biotech company out of northern Utah that had 2 technologies they were developing in the biotech kind of pre-pharmaceutical space. And my dad was asked to go in and do a consulting project for them along with me, and found out about what the technology that is now ASEA. And you know, I have to admit, I handed the consulting job off to him. He continued to work with the company. I kind of lost touch with that organization. They asked him to sit on the board, and I go to the house one afternoon, and he has this device, and it's a box, and it has a power cord coming out of it, and a conditioner, and like a modulator, and a timing device on it, and this beaker coming out of the top of it with the electrodes in there, and I was completely like, it looked like the flux capacitor from Back to the Future. And I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with my dad at the time because there were only 4 or 5 devices of these that made what is now ASEA at the time, and you know, I mocked it a great deal. I absolutely did not believe it. He kept it in mason jars. It looked like moonshine. I was completely spooked by the whole notion of a saltwater product of any kind. I remember thinking to myself that my father's life experiences and successes had been wonderful, but the last chapter in the book was probably not going to be too positive. And so, despite the fact that it's this wonderful product now, back then it looked like moonshine, and it certainly wasn't what I thought it was. I did go to lunch with Gary Samuelson. I should tell you this. I went to lunch with Gary Samuelson. Largely, I went because I was very concerned about my dad's choice to do this. And Gary looked at me across the table and said, "This is the single greatest health science breakthrough of your lifetime, and probably of 2 to 3 or 4 of your lifetimes." And I remember being absolutely incredulous about that. So my exposure to redox signaling at the front end was not instant belief. How's that?
So what finally, I mean, it's from the flux capacitor to what made you become a believer in ASEA?
Yeah, I'd love to tell you I was this quick adopter, early adopter and everything, but the truth is I had a real unique situation. I had a neighbor friend that had a real serious challenge, and one of those challenges where not a lot is helping, and he's really thinking about what left do I have to try. And when I found out about it, I called my dad and I said to him, "David," I said, "Dad, are you've been telling me about this stuff." This was before it was ASEA, and I've got a neighbor with a pretty serious challenge. Do you think the stuff would help? And he said, "Absolutely." And I asked him to get me some, and he did. And I was so frightened to give it to my neighbor that I gave it to the leader of my church at the time, my congregation, took it to his house in a jug, and gave it to him and said, "I want you to give this to my neighbor Jason." And he said, "What is it?" And I said, "I don't know." And he said, "So why do you want me to give it to you?" And I said, "Because I'm scared to give it to him. I don't know what to expect." And he said, "So you want me to give him a product? You don't know what it is." It was a long story. But the truth is, to my everlasting credit of my friend Craig, who gave it to Jason, and to Jason's credit, because he actually drank it, he had a remarkable experience. And so much so that he came to my house. I made he and his wife come to my house. I set up a video camera, and I shot them telling me all their experiences with the product, because I was still really doubtful of what could happen. And suffice it to say that it was one of my early real convincing experiences that redox signaling and the technology behind this product had real powerful reach and impact. And my dad, of course, loved that he could tell me that he told me so.
Love it. Thank you.
I remember when I first flew in to take a look at ASEA. It was back in October of '09, and it was before you were, started to engage in helping the company and speaking for some of the leaders flying in. And at that time, so I know you had a lot of things going on, but a lot of folks, and over the last few years, I've learned about some of the things that you've been involved with. But if you could share with some of the listeners out there on what you were doing prior to coming to ASEA, I think that would be very powerful.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. When my dad came to me and said he was starting ASEA, of course, he and I had a consulting practice, Strategic Link, that we had started together, and that consulting practice had blossomed into several different entrepreneurial ventures at the time. And at the time, I didn't expect ASEA to grow as quickly and as effectively as it has. But I had partnered on a fly fishing property in Wyoming where we've actually hosted an ASEA event last year. We will again this year. We launched economic. We host the Rocky Mountain Economic Summit. So my partner and I founded that summit, which is an enormous gathering of some of the top economists and entrepreneurs in the country. Bloomberg covers that live. CNBC covers that live. And we had a very thriving consulting practice. We had a whole series of things that we were doing. And so my early involvement with ASEA really was parallel pathing all those things and just giving some of my time to the company. As the company grew, my belief in the product grew, my love of the people grew, and my dad's involvement, he started to say, "Hey, why don't you come give us a little more of your time?" And as you mentioned earlier, in 2012, I, for a season of time, took over and ran as CEO as he moved to chairman of the board. And we've more than doubled the company during that interval and had some real fun experiences opening several countries, as everyone knows. And It's been an incredible experience. All the while, these other enterprises have continued to grow along the side as well, and many of which have touched ASEA, like the Trout Ranch. So it's been lots of different things happening.
Awesome.
Well, you've had an amazing track record of success, and one of the things that I got to experience at Base Camp was the people that you attract to the company. So we've got an amazing group of people. You were heading it up, and the underlying theme for the executive team as a whole is the same. And speaking of this, our next corporate guest will be ASEA's new CEO. And from what I understand, you've had a great relationship with him for many years and actually brought him to the company. So I was wondering if you could give us all some personal history on Chuck Funky and the level of respect you have for him.
Yeah, so Chuck's full name is Charles Frederick Funky III. So I periodically refer to him as Charles Frederick. But, Charles is a remarkable leader and executive. In fact, I will tell you a story that I think sums up Chuck's character. We had a person, he will absolutely be upset that I shared this, but this is a true story about Chuck. We had an individual that worked for Chuck. I was a senior vice president of an over 100-year-old financial institution, and Chuck flanked me as a vice president over 80% of the revenue. And prior to him taking a role, he took a role as the CEO and chairman of a subsidiary of that company. And one of the people that worked for Chuck came down with an illness that was very significant that hospitalized him. And it was a degenerative disease where his nerve damage on basically all over his body, and he spent several weeks, if not months, in the hospital. And I later found out several years later that Chuck every week would rent a movie and go to the hospital and sit with this friend who had lost so much of his ability to move. And the lights just turned off here at the corporate office. Paul, am I okay? Can you see me?
We can still see you.
Okay, sorry. I'd have to get up and go hit the button because we're an eco-friendly business here and it's after hours, so I apologize for that. But Chuck, I just turned up the brightness on my computer. Hopefully that helps. But Chuck went every week to the hospital to sit by this friend and employee that worked for him in his hospital room, would rent movies. In some cases, the guy could barely talk. He got so ill, and never tell anyone that he had done that. And if you want a window into the character of Chuck Funky as a person, I don't know of anything that tells his good heart better than that. And frankly, he would be mortified that I shared it because he wouldn't want anyone to know that he went and did that. Beyond that kind of a good heart, which to me precedes all the business discussions as his background, you got a guy that was a chairman and CEO of a financial services broker-dealer, an SEC registered and a FINRA registered BD, which is a significant responsibility. Several years as a vice president with me, a national director prior to that, and then a national director for some of the largest financial institutions, and a member of the international department of both New York Life and the Principal Financial Group, where he was responsible for opening several countries to the insurance sector, down particularly in South America. He's fluent in Spanish, has a wonderful family, and Chuck is just a seasoned executive. And so you can't imagine how excited I am and I was to have him really tag teaming with Jerem Webb, who's one of my other life heroes, to take the CEO and president role so I can raise the flag as an ambassador and do things like I'm doing with you guys tonight and tell the story of ASEA.
Awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, I'd like to get some final closing thoughts from you, and be sure to include what you see ASEA looking like, maybe 5 years down the road from now.
Yeah, well, number one, what a privilege to be with you guys tonight. So let me start before I close my remarks by thanking you for letting me join you. And to all of those that are listening now live and those that might be playing this in a subsequent recording and checking in on this downstream, it's a real privilege to be able to share a message with you too. ASEA has a mission that's much bigger than any one person. This product, while it might be ill understood, is way, way, way ahead of its time. It's a technology, a health science technology that truly is a breakthrough of huge worldwide proportions. And I think that's manifest by the fact that it's grown so steadily and consistently across so many countries in such short order. I have a close friend who's literally the top distributor for a multi-billion-dollar organization in this industry who I bumped into over the Christmas holidays. He was so complimentary of our company. He pulled me aside and said, "We have watched you from a distance, and we're so pleased and excited with the way you're growing the business. And I promise you, this is one of the top distributors in the world for one of the largest network marketing companies in the world." And it was just Christmas holiday. We were both at the store. He walked up, and we've known each other from other professional associations for many years. And he was so complimentary. He says, "We have been watching and cheering you on." He said, "I know I'm not supposed to say this out loud because we're competitors, but we love to see the growth and where your company is headed." And I think he knows that we're just getting started. Here's a guy that's downstream on one of the big name companies. You would all know their name very well. And yet he sees where we are and sees us growing and was very complimentary. The vision that we have for ASEA is impacting people all around the world. And not just the product itself, but bringing a real exciting, new, fresh business opportunity to people. To share a unique product, one that you cannot find in any other network marketing company. You cannot find it in a big box or retail environment. You cannot find it at the GNC. You can't find it anywhere else but through this model. And when people realize what this represents, the demand for this will become so significant and unprecedented that we're already seeing it now. We have a very high base of people that want this product every month. They stay on auto ship and they want it every month. And anytime you've got a product with that kind of demand dynamics, you know you can build a business around it because people get the product, they know what it does for them. They immediately say, "Hey, I can build a business around this, just sharing this with the people that I know and love." And so our vision is we have a very big vision for what this company is going to do. We're going to spread across the globe. We're already doing so now. And really, I would argue that this is still in its infancy, despite the fact that we're a fairly significant company. In fact, just short of one of the top 100 network marketing companies in the world already, just as of last year. We just missed the top 100 as of last year. We're very close to making that break. So we're very new, but we're growing into that top 100, and we're very, very confident that we're going to be a very, very large company. What does that really mean to someone out there who's kicking around the idea of getting involved? We're really pre-momentum, in my opinion. Despite the fact we have very significant momentum now and have grown, we're pre-real momentum where someone can jump on and grow a business and take advantage of it. And getting involved now is a pivotal choice, I believe, to take full advantage of what that looks like. So we're very excited about the future. It is a global company now, but will only continue to grow to be global. And it's just been my privilege and continues to be my privilege to be a part of it.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us this evening, Tyler, taking time out. I know your schedule is crazy. Appreciate you being here.
Thanks so much to you guys. David and Paul, you're superstars, and to all of you out in the field that are following these guys, if my son, who's 16 now, when he's 18 decides to get in the game, I'd be linking him up with these kinds of guys. So thanks for hosting me tonight. Sure think the world of both of you, and all the best to the ASEA community and anyone who's looking at joining us.
Thank you, and we're honored and blessed to have you on this call tonight. So thank you.
Thanks a lot, guys. I hope it gets cold down there so you can be like me up here.
We'll get a day or two. We will.
Thanks so much. Well,
all right, guys.
Thanks so much. Well, speaking of cold, I'll be cold next week, and you all should be considering being cold too, because Tyler Norton will be heating things up at the Envision Tour event in White Plains, New York. You want to go to ASEAEvents.com. Once again, ASEAEvents.com and register. It's a week from this Saturday, so January 25th. Be sure to register for that. And also the day after, we have a leadership training. You can go to sundaytraining.com to register for that event. Again, there'll be some specific leadership training going on organization-wise and some new skills, and we're teaching about technology and the platforms we're working on. So be sure to register for both those events. We look forward to seeing everyone there in White Plains next week. And we also have the keynote speaker here. My co-host will be keynoting the Sunday event. So if you're looking forward to that, Dave, are you going to be getting hotter or colder by going to White Plains?
I'll be nice and toasty. Getting on fire. Everything will be great.
Perfect. Well, thanks, David. Do you have any closing comments before we go ahead and wrap up the call?
I just want to thank everyone who is willing to take the time out on a weeknight and literally connect to the people that we have involved in this great company, taking the time to learn and then share this amazing product and message with all the community, with their friends and family. So thanks, everyone. We look forward to seeing you in New York for those of you who are going to be there, and otherwise, we'll see you next week.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night, great week, and I'll see you later. Take care, everybody. Good night.
Bye-bye.